Alrighty. So the question was, how long have you been married for?
Right.
So the second part to the question was, I believe they said that I have always been very vocal about being divorced and how I was the one who initiated the whole divorce thing, and they asked if I had any regrets. Love is not just a feeling, it's a choice.
Yeah. My dad always used to say, he's like, you're not going to always feel in love every day, but that's where commitment kicks in. So I have a question for you. Do you think a lot of times do we feel that we want marriage, but the problem is it marriage itself is just the wrong person?
Because I promise you, somewhere out there is somebody who's going to give you everything you want. You're not asking for too much. You're asking the wrong person.
I think it's rather interesting because like you're saying, like you were able to learn from different things over your first marriage and your second marriage. I had to grow up in my marriage, which was very difficult.
Yeah. Oh, marriage is not easy.
It is not easy. It's a lot of work. And you have to both people have to want it.
Correct.
I have 2 and you have 3.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see yourself having more babies? All right, y'all, here we are again with another one-on-one with Kels and M. How you doing, M?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I probably should have let you introduce yourself, but
no, it's okay.
I think
it goes with the flow. It's good.
All right, so what would you like to talk about today?
We had a question that was asked to us.
We did with our, what was it, NGLs? That's what it's called?
Yes, NGL.
Yes. Okay, so what was the question?
Well, before that, we have to
cheers it up.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mine always stick.
I don't know, girl.
Only mine. Everybody else gets to pick theirs up.
Alrighty. So the question was, it was like a double question because they asked, how long have you been married for?
Right.
And then, so you can go ahead and respond to that and then I'll go over.
Okay. So I've been married for 11 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. Long 11 years. long 11 years.
11 years is a long time.
It is. I mean, we've been together longer than that, but actually married 11 going on 12.
How long have you guys been together?
Since 2009.
That's a long time, girl.
Yeah. So almost like what, 14? Is that like 14, 15 years
girl,
almost?
I suck at math. But
yeah, somewhere around there. Definitely about 14 years.
So y'all been together for the different stages, the young 20s, the crazy 20s.
Yeah.
And
I was 21
maturing together.
I was 21 when I got with him. So yeah. Yeah, I was with him since I was 21. I was a mom at 22. And then I was married like by 24.
Okay.
So yeah, by the time I was like, before I was 25, I had 2 kids and a whole husband.
Yeah, that was me at 17.
Yeah.
So the second part to the question was, I believe they said that I have always been very vocal about being divorced and how I was the one who initiated the whole divorce thing, and they asked if I had any regrets. Ultimately, the response would be no, but I would be lying if at some point I didn't regret my decision.
Okay.
So I've been married twice, and I always say that first shit don't count, but it's because my parents kind of forced me to get married. And no, I wasn't pregnant or nothing like that. It's just that
really?
I was brought up in a very strict household, and my daddy was like, "You're not leaving my house without being married."
And you wanted to leave.
And it's a lot that goes into it. At the time, I was a teenager. I lived with my grandma. All right, my teenage years were divided between Puerto Rico and here.
Right.
So I want to say like 16, like 15 through 17, it was between here and there because my daddy didn't like my boyfriend, which is my son's father, which is my first husband. And so he had sent me to live with my grandma, with my daddy's mama. But then my parents ended up separating, so my mama sent me back over there. But then at one point, my mama kind of didn't want to deal with my sister and I, so she sent us back over here. So it was a really bad back and forth.
Right.
Long story short, right? At one point, my parents decided that even though they weren't together, they were going to buy a friggin' house in Kissimmee. It's so stupid. Anyway, I lived with my grandmother at the time, and I wanted to stay there. But my mom, she just wasn't with it, right? And she's like, no. So my dad was like, yeah, no, you don't have any options. You have to move with us. Your only other option is you can get married and move back to Puerto Rico with your boyfriend. I was like, fine, I'll do that. I ain't mean that shit. I was 17. I did not mean that shit. And it was like, I was like, why can't I just like not get married and just move? He's like, because you're not doing that. Like, my daddy is a preacher. He was very strict. And it was just like, and I wasn't a virgin, but I could not leave his house without being married. So my parents like arranged everything. He came from Puerto Rico. We got married. That was a horrible marriage. It was a disaster. But that is like my dad's son. So I don't regret that shit. Fuck that shit. Anyway, but my actual marriage, which is the one that I consider like, yes, because I was an adult. That was something that I wanted to do or whatever. We broke up. I filed for divorce because he cheated on me.
Okay.
He is a great father. He was a wonderful provider, but he was not a good husband. And I think that some people get confused, like, oh, well, he's a
good dad.
Yeah,
so
he's a great dad. We've spoken about this. I tell you, I get along great with his girlfriend. I love his baby. He has a baby. He's a wonderful father. He raised my son.
Right.
He's a great father. He is a great provider. Like, you will never struggle. If you're with him, no struggles. You stay at home, because that's how my life was. I was a stay-at-home mom and wife.
Right.
But baby, there is so much more that is needed in a relationship.
Right.
You need communication, not just communication. You need comprehension, because I could communicate all I want, but if you're not comprehending on the receiving end, you're not understanding what I'm saying, we're going to go around in circles. One of the things that I asked for the most in that marriage was affection. I don't need you to like buy me a bunch of expensive shit, but I do need to feel like you care about me. And our biggest thing was he was just not affectionate at all. So he cheated. And it's just such a bad story, because he was here illegally, right? So I go ahead and I file for his papers, whatever. This was years of us struggling for this man to get his documents in order. The U.S. finally says, all right, that's cool. We're going to give it to you, but you got to go back to your country. You got to have a legal entrance. So we're like, okay.
So it was a lot. You guys went through a lot.
That turned into like 3 or 4 years of him being over there.
Wow.
But our marriage dissolved within like a few months, because I found out he was cheating on me. He has baby mamas in his country. So it was just like, yeah. So it was like,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So when he got over there, I told him from the beginning, I am with you through anything. But the moment you cheat on me, I'm done.
Right.
I have sickle cell. I'm very vocal about having sickle cell. I was going through blood transfusions. My body rejected the blood. I was driving to Miami every other day to take documents to his attorney. I wrote to senators. I wrote to the governor. Like, I was fighting for him to come back. And you gonna do that in the midst of this? No, baby. Ain't no way.
That's when you checked out.
I told him I'm filing for divorce. I said, what I will do is, because you're the father of my daughters, I will stay with you legally married until you come back legally. Because at the end of the day, I will never have my daughters question, like, you could have brought my dad back and you didn't because you were hurt. No. Because like I said, he is a great father, and one thing doesn't, no.
Right.
So I kept my word. Did I regret it? There were a lot of times where I did, because the struggle was so bad. My kids know I have a great relationship with my kids, and I say this all the time. I never wanted children. I never did. I had my children because their fathers wanted it. And but not Gordo so much, but the girls, that was something that their dad, he wanted kids. I was content with just having one, right? And I thought he was my happily ever after, so I gave into it, only to end up being a single parent of 3 kids instead of just one. And that is so hard. Going from a housewife to suddenly you're just a single mom of 3. And now you got to figure out daycare, because they were small at the time. And you got to figure out work. And nobody would give me work because I had been out of work for 7 years. It was hard. So did I regret it at the moment? Yes. And then I feel like I got my life in order. Like, I picked up all my pieces on my own. I did therapy. I did so much work on myself. And then I realized what we were talking about off camera. I wasn't asking for too much. I was asking the wrong person.
Right.
I was just asking the wrong person, because I never felt like I asked for too much anyway. Like, affection, that's kind of very basic. I'm not asking you to spend money on me.
So I have a question for you. Do you think a lot of times do we feel that we want marriage, but the problem is it marriage itself is just the wrong person?
Correct. Because we asked the wrong person for the things that we. I was, and I say this with nothing in me. I know for a fact I was a great wife to that man.
Right.
The first one, he got a crazy version of me, but that second one, he got
the best
version of me.
Right.
Because at one point they met because the other one came to C.A.S.T or whatever, and he even said, he's like, the way that you have evolved into the woman that you are today, he's like, I didn't have that. He's like, and I was a shitty husband. I accept that. Like,
right.
He's like, but he is so lucky to have that. And I don't think he understands. And again, I wasn't asking for too much. I was asking the wrong person. I've been dating somebody recently, and it's been a while. And there's never like a no. Well, I don't know what no means, girl. I don't know what no means. Super, super affectionate.
Right.
Without me asking for it. And it's, you know how sometimes men complain about, oh, you're just yapping, you're just talking nonstop. He'll hear all my yapping with no issues. Like,
yeah.
And it's like, okay. And it wasn't until now that I realized you don't have to settle, because I promise you, somewhere out there is somebody who's going to give you everything you want. You're not asking for too much. You're asking the wrong person.
That makes a lot of sense.
Men gonna do what they want for the woman that they want.
Absolutely. And I always believe that. Like, I don't know. I think it's rather interesting because, like, you're saying, like, you were able to learn from different things over your first marriage and your second marriage. I had to grow up in my marriage, which was very difficult.
Yeah.
You know, I went through phases of knowing what I thought was a marriage and how I was supposed to act, to realizing what suited me and what didn't suit me. And I think it's a consistent thing where you're constantly learning things about yourself and adjusting as you go on. And it's not easy.
Oh, marriage is not easy.
It is not easy. It's a lot of work. And you have to both people have to want it.
Exactly. Because people are like, oh, it's 50-50. It's not fucking 50-50.
It's not 50-50.
It's not. And there's going to be days where you have to pick up your partner's slack because he's not up for it. And there's going to be days where he has to learn to pick up because you're not up for it.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just not feeling it.
You're just not.
You're not feeling it.
Marriage is very hard. It's a decision that you have to constantly keep making on a daily basis. Like, I want this relationship. Love is not just a feeling, it's a choice.
Yeah. My dad always used to say, he's like, you're not going to always feel in love every day, but that's where commitment kicks in.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, yeah, I may not be in love. I may not be smile happy, all the feels, but I'm committed to you. I decided, I made a choice to stick by you through no matter what. So even though I'm not feeling it today, I'm still going to abide by those things.
Right.
And, you know, for some people, it's at some point you got to realize, you know, is it worth it for you or not? And it does, that person has to feel if it's worth it or not. You know, you would like to always see a marriage work. Yeah. You know, ideally, you would always like to see a family stay together, especially if you have kids.
Exactly.
You know, but if both people aren't putting in the effort, then like, what's the point?
My first marriage, I knew that was not I knew it. I was just like,
especially when you said it was kind of one of those things where it's like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what the families felt.
Yeah, it wasn't something that I wanted. But my second marriage, I really did think like, this is my happily ever after. This is where I die. And then when life throws them curveballs at you and you realize like, and at one point it was just more so me fighting for the relationship. And I would be like, I would tell him like, hey, like, we're married. I felt more lonely while I was married to that man than I have when I'm fully single. And that is hard.
Right.
To be in a household with another person and realize how lonely. If I would call my grandmama crying.
They have a new term for it now. It's called, like, on TikTok, what is it? The single married woman, where it's like, yeah, it's a new thing where it's like they doing all the stuff in the house. They taking care of the kids, but they're technically married, but it's like, it don't even feel like
it.
I
would call my grandmother all the time. And I was like, so when he cheated or whatever, we were going through it. Like when he left, I remember we had an argument the night before he left, and he said that I cursed him or whatever, because I was like, you're leaving for 2 weeks. We don't know if those 2 weeks are going to turn into years. So you better not leave like this, not on bad terms. And he left on bad terms, and
He never
we
reconciled.
never, no, not at all. So, I mean, like, I answered the question, but
Yeah, so basically,
I don't regret.
you basically were saying that you at some point, you know, felt that, you know, maybe am I making the right choice? You questioned it.
Yeah, I did question it.
You definitely questioned it.
Like I said, it got hard. It got super hard.
But then, in, you know, looking back now, you're like,
Yeah,
I
no,
did the
I'm
best
super
thing.
content. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Like I said, he's a great father, and I hate when women mix that shit. Like, oh well, if you're not gonna be with me, then you're not gonna see your kids. Or
No,
maybe take them.
you're right.
Take
I
them.
never understood that either. Like, I always said, don't make your kids too. Have fun. Have fun.
And we've spoken about it. I get along great with his girlfriend. I am so thankful when they come. The girls come home on the weekend and their hair is done.
That's
no
blessed.
knots. My girls have hair down here, down to their thighs almost. That gets knotted so fast, and I don't have the time or the patience to do it.
So it's a blessing for you.
Yeah. So every time she can't send it to you and not. So she when they go over there, I already know.
Time to do
Thank
some
God.
hair.
Thank
That's
God.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't have no problems with her.
That's good. So you have a good co-parenting
Yeah,
situation.
no, definitely.
And I think that's also the key too. Like you said, we always equate being a good husband to being a good father. So if he wasn't a good husband, then he's not a good father. So he can't be around.
Yeah,
that's
that's
if
true.
he's a good father, let him be a good father. He just wasn't a good husband to you.
Correct.
And that's fair to say that, you know.
And like I said, they're going to change for the woman they want.
Mm-hmm.
I can truly tell you that he is completely different in the relationship that he's in now than he was ever with me.
Really?
Yeah, like he's the one who begs her for pictures. He's the one who posts her. He's the one who's like all lovey-dovey.
He
and stuff
learned,
with her.
like, just like you learned from your first marriage, he learned from his.
And he's told me that.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. Being the lesson is not fun.
No.
It is
It's
not
not.
fun. That shit is traumatizing.
Trial and error?
If I gotta be somebody else's lesson,
No, that's so
I'm gonna
not
lose
fair
my
to be the
shit.
person that they do trial and error on. It is so
the
not.
placeholder, like
Yeah.
the placeholder, but that's what I was. And he says it all the time. Like he's told me directly, like I taught him certain things that he didn't do with me, but then he learned them and he does them now. And she's made comments about it as well too, and it's like, great, I love that for y'all. Like, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, like I say, he's a great dad. We have a good co-parenting relationship. I get along great with her. I love they have the cutest freaking baby ever. I love their baby.
Aww.
So
Basically, I guess the moral of the story is marriage can work or marriage can't work. Basically, it just depends on the situation and what you feel is suiting you at the moment. And you have anything else to add?
I'm not opposed to marriage again.
Yeah. Oh, I think we did have another question. Well, I think we might have answered it already.
Uh-huh.
The babies. Do you see yourself having more babies? Because I have 2 and you have 3.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see yourself having more babies?
For the right man, yeah.
For the right man?
Yeah.
Yeah. I go back and forth. I am torn, and I'll tell you why briefly. I get torn between children. I miss, because my kids are a little older now, and so they're in their teens and whatever. And so I do miss the infancy stage. I miss them being excited about certain things. I miss the innocence of them. And so I definitely do miss that aspect and would love to see that again. However, I am also approaching my 40s where I think to myself, I might have some time for me. I've been a mom since I've been in my early 20s. Like, what does Kelly taking care of Kelly look like in her 40s?
I've thought about that. We're the same age. So, and I've thought about that too. But like I said, for the right man, yeah, I'll have another child, especially like if they don't have any kids.
If I could be stay at home and do absolutely nothing, I think I would consider it too.
I miss having like a baby. And I always wanted another boy.
Really?
Always. After Gordo,
That makes sense for you. I never had a
Yeah.
girl. And I think that, like, I mean, if I had another boy, I would actually be happy too, because I know boys.
Girl, them girls gonna put you through it, baby. Listen.
That's what I hear.
My daughters, they're not disrespectful, because not any of my 3 kids are disrespectful. They know they could get fucked up. But no, I don't play that. I
Right.
don't. But the sass and the attitude amongst girls,
That's what I heard. My friend.
and then I don't like. I can only speak for me. I have a lot of fucking attitude.
My
I have
friend
an
has
attitude
twins,
problem.
and she always tells me that, and they're little, and she always tells me, "Yep, she got my attitude."
That's
One
the
of them
thing.
has my
I have
attitude.
a lot of attitude, and I don't. Girl, when I get mad, I get mad, and I want to fight anybody. I don't give a fuck if you're 8
I
feet
feel like
tall.
I have
My
too
daughters
much,
are like that.
I have too much testosterone in my house, so it would be nice for a little balance. She might put her brothers in check. She might put her dad in check. So that I think about that. Also, I'm like, it would be nice to have some backup because I don't think they'll stress.
I've always wanted another boy though.
Really?
Like Gordo.
He's older now, and
Gordo
he's in a
about
different
to leave
stage.
me, man. Like Gordo.
Yeah.
Gordo, think about
At
girls.
least you have girls. So when they have kids or get married, they'll be like, "Oh, I need my mom. I need my mom." I have boys, so their significant others are going to be
it's
"I'm going to my
different.
mom. My mom's going to do
it's
this."
different.
So it would be nice to have a girl who would be like, "I need my mom." That's how I look at it.
I know that both of my girls are gonna be like that because they're so fucking clingy. Like, even every weekend, you saw they were texting me nonstop. Like,
Yes.
when they go to their dads, it's never. They be like, "Girl, what time you gonna pick us up? Like, come pick us up." Like,
Yeah.
they're for everything. And mommy. They're so
My
dramatic.
boys only call me when they need something. That's the only time. Whenever I get a call, I'm like, "Oh, somebody needs something."
Gordo's like that, but Gordo is very much a mama's boy.
Yeah,
very. Much
my
a mama's
oldest
boy.
is a mama's boy. Like my youngest, I won't hear from him unless he needs something. But my oldest, "Hey mom, I was just thinking about you," and then that melts my heart. So
That's how my daughters are.
yeah, my oldest, he makes me feel good. He makes me feel like a great mom.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm open for the right man. Don't jump in no DMs talking about let's have a baby because no, the fuck me not.
I don't know. Sometimes I'd be like, God, just make the decision for me because I'll go back and forth all day long. All right. Well, I think we had a good one. Let's take another sip. Let's wrap this up. Cheers to a great conversation. And here we are with another episode of the cast with Kels and
Emmy.
All right, like, comment, subscribe, follow, share. Send us more questions. We actually really enjoyed that.
We did.
It makes it a lot easier and for us to talk about what you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
So, all right.